North Attleboro Community Television, North TV Sports presents King Philip Regional High School football. Tonight's game at Arnold Mactaz Field in Rentham is a marquee meeting in the Hockomock League's Kelly Rex division. The 2-1 Mansfield Green Hornets visiting the King Philip Warriors, unbeaten at 3-0. I'm Mark Farinella bringing you the play-by-play along with Glenn Farley. The game between King Philip and Mansfield has become one of the fiercest rivalries in the league over the past decade, as KP has rallied from 13 straight losses in the series to win 6 of the last 7, and 2 of those were in MIA playoff competition. And right now we are about to start this contest here at the Arnold Mactaz Field. Beautiful night for football here at King Philip. Mansfield will receive the ball to start the game. Sincere Gill is back deep, and he will pick the ball up at about the 10-yard line and is going to come looking for some running room. He goes around the left side, still on his feet. King Philip's trying to get him down. He can't get him down until they get to about midfield. Number 2, Crawford Cantave with the tackle.
And that's Sincere Gill. He's a game-breaking threat. Every time he touches the ball, Mark, he's got game-breaking speed. He's averaging over 100 yards per game on the ground from the line of scrimmage, rushing.
Mansfield will take over at the 49-yard line, their own 49. Jack Mousset will be at quarterback for the Hornets. And I'm familiar with him because I see a lot of their basketball games. Jack is the point guard on the team. Snap goes back. That's Vinnie Holmes with the ball. With the pitch out, gets it out to about the 46-yard line of King Philip.
Holmes is a solid two-way player for the Hornets. He plays running back, linebacker. He's a tackling machine on defense.
He's also quite the weightlifter from all indications. He's really a workout warrior, as they say. All right, so we are at 2nd and 5 at the 46-yard line. Mousset and shotgun. Hands the ball off. That is Mike DeBolt. And he is stacked up. Gets about to the 44-yard line. We have a 3rd down. Mike DeBolt, by the way, is quite the kid. He's a senior. He's a kicker, and he is running a charity. It's for pediatric cancer. People are pledging donations according to how many points he scores on the season. It is really a pretty impressive thing for a young man to do. And I'll give you some more details on that later on. All right, Mousset. DeBolt in motion, gets the ball. And he's going to break through and gets himself a 1st down. That ball will be out to the 33-yard line of King Philip, with 10:09 left to go in the contest.
Terrific run by DeBolt, Mark. He really could have been caught in the backfield, thrown for a loss, put him in a 4th down situation. Turned it upfield, made a man miss, picked up the 1st down, and the Hornets moved the chains.
Folks, we are doing this by the seat of our pants tonight. Glenn is sharing my microphone. I'll just let you know that little detail right here. All right, Mousset looking to pass. Fires it downfield. He has a touchdown to Danny Raposa. And the Hornets have struck first with 9:38 left to go in the first quarter.
Tremendous play, tremendous throw by Mousset. Caught Raposa in stride, deep down the right sideline for the touchdown.
He had plenty of green in front of him on that. So Mike DeBolt will come on to attempt the extra point. Out of the hold of Nick Marciano. The snap. Marciano gets it up in time and DeBolt gets it through the uprights. A little struggle on that, but Mansfield leads King Philip 7-0 to start this contest.
And we figured this would be a heavyweight bout between these two teams, Mark. Speaking of which, Marciano, the holder and running back, and also a defensive back for Mansfield, he is the great nephew of Rocky Marciano, the legendary heavyweight boxing champion from Brockton.
Well, this could be a game that this goes back and forth like this all night. Of course, Mike Redding, the veteran coach of the Hornets, this is his 32nd year. He's got a record of 254 wins, 87 losses, and 4 ties. He was inducted into the state's Football Hall of Fame in 2019, earlier this year. And, of course, Brian Lee is in his 15th year, 111 wins, 47 losses, and, of course, 3 straight Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins. I'll tell you can't get any better than this matchup tonight. King Philip has really come back strong in the last few years in this rivalry. I mean, there was a stretch, and I mentioned it earlier. Mansfield had won 13 straight in this rivalry. King Philip has come back to win 6 of the last 7. Mansfield's last win was in last year's regular season game. There's the kickoff. And it's going to be called down. That was KP's Michael Zagrodny. And there will be a touchback on that play, and it will come out to the 20-yard line.
You feel it in the end zone, touchback. They'll take it out and start from their 20-yard line.
9:38 to go. Robbie Jarrest at quarterback for the King Philip Warriors. Jarrest, excuse me. He's in shotgun formation. Ryan Halliday, the very talented running back next to him, hands it off to Halliday right off the bat. And Halliday's going to go for some yardage on the outside as he gets to the left. Halliday, last week, a little bit more familiar of what we've seen. They went to him a lot in the second half against Franklin. He carried 33 times for 145 yards in the game. In the second half, there was one drive. He had carried on 12 of the 13 plays in the drive. It took 8:11 off the clock, and it ended in his 11-yard run, and that put Franklin down for the count.
Let's not forget, King Philip has been used to playing from behind in the first half this year. They have not started quickly.
KP will have the ball at about the 29-yard line. Snap. Little struggle of getting the handoff, and I believe that was Halliday. And no gain on that.
Way to go on that one. That play was really snuffed out. Second and short. They seem to know they were going to go to Halliday. He's the bread and butter guy in those situations. Mansfield right on top of it, puts him in a 3rd down and 1-yard situation.
All right, King Philip now with a 3rd and 1, as Glenn said. Jarrest behind center directly, gives it off to Halliday, goes straight up ahead. Vinny Holmes on the tackle for Mansfield, but that should be a 1st down.
That's going to be good for our Warriors. Number 4, Captain Michael.
Holmes is the guy you're going to hear his name called a lot on tackles tonight. He's a tackling machine, as we said. He's a leading tackler for Mansfield, and he's been doing it for years.
Vinny Holmes, a 5'10", 205-pound senior, really solidifies the middle of that Mansfield defense. All right. The Warriors have a 1st down. Jarrest back in shotgun with Halliday to his left. Looks to pass, throws up ahead to Brian Wassersug. Doesn't get much yards, but he gets a few yards. Stays in bounds. Ball goes to about the 36.
To number 9, Brian Wassersug.
So that should give the Warriors a 2nd and 5. This is the 60th meeting of these two teams since 1960. Mansfield leads it 37-19-3. Jarrist in shotgun, looking ahead, hands it off to Halliday, and Halliday will get a few yards. Still short of the first down. By the way, a big change in the offensive line for King Philip last week, and I did not know about it then, but I'll tell you about it now. Dan Mullen, 6'1", 235-pound senior, came back from shoulder surgery. Really made a big difference. In fact, Brian Lee told me earlier in the week that one of the reasons why that Halliday had so much success running the ball in the second half was because of Mullen's blocking on that side. So he's back in, and that really helps to solidify the KP offensive line a little bit. Jarrist will now be back in shotgun formation. Again, off to Halliday. Halliday looks to go to the right side. Still battling, staying up as much as he can. That should go to about the 42-yard line or so. And that will be a first down for the King Philip Warriors.
5 carries for 19 yards for Halliday in the early going, ground and pound. This is nothing that we're not used to seeing from KP. Play solid defense, which they did not on the first drive, obviously, but kind of ground and pound attack.
And it looks like the idea tonight might be to just try to exploit Halliday more. First couple of games we saw it split more with Jarrist. Jarrist now is going to run and throw. He rolled out, tried to get it to Bailing on the right-hand side of the field. It's overthrown and out of bounds, so that will be 2nd and 10 at the 43-yard line.
They did try to mix it up there, going to one of his favorite targets, and Alex Bailing off the play-action fake, but the throw was just a little long. The play was pretty well covered. 2nd and 10 situation now for the Warriors.
All right, KP comes to the line of scrimmage. Jarrist behind center. Sean Pillar hands it off to Halliday. Bounces off of one tackler and gets out to about the 48, 49 maybe. More like the 49-yard line. So that will be 3rd down and about 4, I believe. Yep. Talking about some Hockomock League royalty here, Mansfield has won 18 league titles since 1959. And Mike Redding's 31 seasons as coach is 20 more than the second highest number on the Mansfield staff over the years, who was Bill Parsons, whom I remember. All right, Jarrist throws, and that is a gain. I think it was a complete pass. And that looks like it was McKinney. Nope, that was Bailing. Bailing brings it down to the 45 of Mansfield, and that is a first down.
A nice block by Halliday in the backfield to pick up T.J. Guy, who had ill intent on his mind as he approached the quarterback, Jarrist.
T.J. Guy, Mansfield's right defensive end, 6'4", 245 junior, and he's a pretty good basketball player too. All right, Jarrist now is in shotgun formation with Halliday the lone back. Hands it off. Halliday is smothered by T.J. Guy. And that brings KP still at the 45-yard line, so that will be 2nd and 10.
A little revenge there for a guy who's coming off the field in the second down situation, but he snuffed that play out right from the get-go. There's nowhere for Halliday to go.
The Hornets last week defeated Taunton at home by a 31-6 score. And, of course, KP defeated Franklin 26-14 on the road. Ryan Halliday was, as I said, 33 for 145 in that game. And Halliday really killed the ball in the second half. Franklin just They had enough problems with their penalties and with their turnovers. They just couldn't get things going. There's Halliday again. But this time the Hornets really do stuff it up again. Multiple tacklers in on the play, as Mike DeBolt was one of them. And that brings maybe a gain of a half of a yard. So it's to be 3rd and 9 technically, but 3rd and a long 9.
And the reason Guy came off the field in that situation is getting his elbow re-taped on the sideline. Doesn't look serious at all. He'll be back in the ballgame.
Well, there's a couple of plays there that King Philip has not been able to move the ball, and we'll see what they have up their sleeves here. Jarrist, known to throw on the run. Now he's going to go in a straight drop, and he throws. And that looks like a catch by Wassersug, out of bounds, unfortunately. That was almost a nice catch by Brian Wassersug. So King Philip will be in a punting situation here with 2:11 left to go in the first quarter. Glenn, a little bit of defense shown by the Hornets there.
Yeah, they came up big there on 3rd down. The timing was just a little bit off. The receiver just let a little bit outside of the out of bounds, and he couldn't haul it in bounds. Puts him in a punting situation.
All right. Dylan Conti will kick the ball for the King Philip Warriors. And a fair catch called for by Mike DeBolt. Mansfield will have the ball at about their 10-yard line.
Mansfield takes over with 2 minutes, 3 seconds left on the clock.
By the way, another little tidbit about a little Hornet history here for those of you in King Philip who probably don't care about this. One of the former Mansfield head coaches and a former Mansfield player, Tony Day, was actually a teammate of Patriots owner Robert Kraft on what they called the lightweight football team at Columbia University. So how about that? All right, Mansfield. DeBolt has the ball, and he is going to be stuffed. Nice tackle there by Sean Conniff of King Philip. So this game could start to use up some clock already. We're back at the 10-yard line. It should be 2nd and 10 here.
Special team love here for Conti, the punter. He's done a nice job for King Philip this year. He's really been kind of a weapon in the kicking game. And he showed it there. He's pinned Mansfield in back at their own 10-yard line to start this possession.
Second and 10. Mousset has Vinnie Holmes right next to him in the backfield of the Hornets. Takes the ball, spins around, gives it off to Sincere Gill, and he will get about 3 or 4 yards before he is taken down by a host of King Philip tacklers.
Tackle by number 35, Mikey Malatesta.
The Hornets will be at about the 14-yard line here. So we're at a 3rd down and about 6. Let's see what the King Philip Warriors have in store in defense on this play. Mousset again. He's going to throw quickly. Gets it out to Danny Raposa, who of course had the long touchdown. Is that enough? It's about the 21-yard line, so that should move the sticks, and it does. First down for Mansfield.
Raposa, the touchdown maker. He had a little cushion there. He took advantage of it. They needed 6. They got 7. They moved the chains, and the first quarter ends with Mansfield on its own 21.
So we'll be coming up to the second quarter in just a few moments as the last seconds tick off on the clock. We will be back in just a minute.
Nearly 150 years ago, William H. Riley and his son Elmer started providing coal, straw, and other heating supplies to the people of North Attleboro. W.H. Riley and Son is still owned by the same family, but now delivers oil and propane as well as services to your heating system and air conditioner. Today, like then, you can rely on W.H. Riley for all your heating and cooling needs.
All right, welcome back to the second quarter of tonight's game between Mansfield and King Philip here at Mactaz Field. I'm Mark Farinola with Glenn Farley. It's 7-0 Mansfield as we start the second quarter of play, and Mansfield does have possession, a first down at their own 21-yard line. The quarterback is Jack Musette. He hands it off to Vinnie Holmes. Vinnie Holmes goes to the right and gets a couple of yards, is tackled by Sean Conniff. And Sean Conniff has been an active fellow tonight for the King Philip Warriors.
Spin move there by the runner. Holmes pick up 5 yards. Good chunk gain on first down. 2nd and 5. Enviable position for Mansfield.
That's good yardage to start off. A little accompaniment here by the King Philip Regional High Band, one of the better bands in the Hockomock League. All right, very tight formation for the Hornets. Musette takes the ball, hands it off to Gill. Gill on the right side again. Looks like they're going to attack that right side today and gets it out to about the 36-yard line. And that will be another first down for the Hornets.
Gill's second carry of the game, but you see the burst that he's got there. He really hit the hole and turned that into a quick 10-yard pickup.
Well, it's a good test of the King Philip defense here. They've made a couple of very nice plays on the run, but Mansfield has really had a little bit of a surprise with Raposa in the passing game. All right, Musette hands it off to the right, goes Vinnie Holmes, gets it to about the 41-yard line. And so that will be a 2nd and 5 situation for King Philip. We talked about how Mansfield played LaSalle of Cincinnati, Ohio earlier. They have played 10 out-of-state opponents on the road in recent years. They are 6-4. They've made 2 trips to Ohio, 4 to New York State, and 1 to California. And it's all on fundraising, folks. They're not asking the taxpayers to pay for it. All right, Mansfield, 2nd down. Musette is going to pitch it back to Gill. Gill's dancing around, but he's met by... And that looked like it was 35 for King Philip, and that is Michael Malatesta with the tackle. And that brings Mansfield to the 39-yard line. So that will be 3rd and about, let's say about 6. And it looks like a long 6 from where that stake is.
You can see the difference in offensive philosophies here, though, the usage of the backs anyway. And that Halliday's a workhorse, and Mansfield's throwing 3 different backs at King Philip.
And that is one thing that the Hornets have done in the past. They usually have a stable of backs that they can use, just about 3-4 of them in a game. All right, Musette now throwing to the right-hand side, rather, and that is to Raposa. He thinks he might have been able to get a first down out of it. Let's see where they put it. I don't think so. They put it down at the 45-yard line, and that would be a 4th and 1 situation. So what do you think? Does Mike Redding go for it?
That's a correct spot. I can tell you that. I think he would punt the ball away right here because our defense showed the ability to stop KP on the initial possession. I'm not giving him the ball on the 45 or taking that chance.
You know, most of these games have been very close between these teams over the last few years. Usually it's 1 or 2 little plays that settle it. Well, he's got the offense out there. A bit of a shift. Now he's going with a bit of a spread set. And they will stop the play here and call a timeout.
The punter back there, Gill, but I think he was trying to draw a penalty, maybe draw him offside a little bit, see if they might be prone to jumping. That didn't happen, so they'll huddle it up, and we'll see what they're going to decide to do on 4th and 1 here.
While we have this little break I would like to tell everybody that tonight's first half is presented to you by Asians Garage, serving the area's automotive needs for a century. Asians Garage, 321 North Washington Street in North Attleboro, just over the Plainville line. And Glenn, I'm going to hit you with a little trivia momentarily. I was just doing some research on NFL bloodlines for these teams. Now, I'll tell you that King Philip and Mansfield have both had 2 players make it to the NFL. I'll bet you can tell me who the King Philip guys are.
Oh, boy. King Philip. The punter. Was it the punter? Hartley?
Ken Hartley for the Patriots. How about the second one?
Oh, Tupu. Lofa.
Lofa Tutupu, linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks. Very good, Glenn. Now, I'll really stump you with the Mansfield ones later. All right, they're going to go for it here. All right, Musette is going to call timeout. So maybe not. That was just more to see if they could draw him again. So we're going to be spending a little time here at the at this yard marker, and it's going to be 8:06 left to go in the contest. All right, Glenn, I'll tell you. 2 Mansfield players have made it to the NFL. 1 recent, 1 not. I'll give you one guess about the Mansfield recent player.
You got me.
I think you know it, though. Joe Todd, linebacker from Hofstra, played for the New York Jets for a season. And he also formerly coached at Milford High recently, too. The other one was a fellow that kind of is a little warm to my heart because my father started at N before he did. Don Curvin, Boston College, played for the Chicago Cardinals, the Boston Yanks, and the LA Rams from 1943 to 49. My dad was the starting end at Mansfield High before Don Curvin came up. Don was a lot better. All right, Hornets now look like they're going to finally punt the ball away here, although DeBolt is the punter, so he is out and he's back here for punting in the punting formation. And everybody is just, I don't know what they're doing here in terms of waiting around for it, but it's really trying to draw King Philip off sides, I think, again. And they will call a timeout again. Oh, my goodness. Oh, they did. Oh, penalty? Yes, it is. Well, this gave us a nice little pause here at the middle of the Arnold MacTaz Field gridiron. But now it looks like Mansfield will finally punt this ball away.
Willing to sacrifice 5 yards to try and draw King Philip off for what would have been a costly 5, but very disciplined approach by King Philip. Nothing doing. They weren't about to move.
You know, there were times in the past where that might have worked, but not lately for the KP Warriors, that's for sure. All right. So now Sincere Gill is going to be back to punt, and he puts it way up in the air. And it's going to come down with a thud and be downed by Mansfield's Matt Bowen, another pretty good basketball player. And the King Philip Warriors will take over at about the 32-yard line. 7:56 left to go in the second quarter.
Bowen, of course, comes from good athletic genes. His uncle Bob is a basketball coach at Brockton High. Pat, his dad, is the baseball coach at Stonehill, and his brothers have done some damage here athletically over the years.
No, that's one thing. They've had a nice little pipeline of brother after brother, especially with the Bowen family. So, all right, King Philip now in command of the football at the 32-yard line. Jarrist, and there's a whistle. And there's a flag. And let's see what the call is going to be here. And it is a false start for King Philip, so that'll push them back. 1st and 15. Not very many, just minor penalties so far. Nothing huge in this contest. So, little blips here and there. And Mansfield's was pretty much intentional. So that puts the ball back at the 27-yard line for King Philip. All right. Jarrett throws out of the shotgun formation over here to Brian Wassersug on the near sideline. Closest to the press box here at MacTaz Field. That will be a pickup of about 6, maybe 7 yards. He'll be at the 33-yard line.
Wassersug, another favorite target of Jarvis that we've seen to date this season. He's got a diverse receiver core, really. A few guys he can throw it to. Bailing being another. McKinney's another guy he can get the ball to.
And that was one thing I thought that might be a key to being able to counter the Mansfield defense, is that they have now 3 or 4 receivers that they can throw to, as well as having Halliday in the backfield. And there's one of the guys going out. It's Wassersug again. This time the Hornets pretty much are all over it. And that will gain maybe about 2 yards to the 35-yard line. So it's a 3rd down situation with about 6, maybe 7, long 6 to go. The game last year in the regular season between these two teams was wild. Mansfield led 28 to 14 with 10:51 left to play. King Philip scored twice in the last 4 minutes of play, and it ended up being a 28-27 loss for the Warriors. Jarris throws on the run. He was under pressure there. And that was Marciano on the pressure, I believe, Glenn.
Yeah, Marciano knocking a guy down to the ground. That's nothing new in that family.
4th down now for King Philip at their own 35-yard line. Still a 7-0 game here. Mansfield scored early. Both teams have kind of been feeling themselves out ever since. Conti will get the ball for the Warriors and will kick it away.
Understandable. You got tents to pack up. Speaking of bishops, I can't believe Phoenix.
And here's the snap. Kind of a little wobbly kick, but the Hornets will let it go by them, and King Philip will smother that, get a fairly good punt out of it after all. So that will be down at the 29-yard line of the Mansfield Hornets, and we are at 6:16 left in the first half. Glenn, what do you think the Warriors have to do here to get a score?
Well, first of all, the advantageous bounce there for King Philip turned a 25-yard punt into 36 yards. Like the Mansfield approach at this point, though, the diverse backfield that they've been able to use, and the quarterback's shown the ability to throw as well, to Reposer in particular. So King Philip's got kind of a two-headed monster to face defensive.
Well, I think it's important, too, that they're going to have to make sure Mansfield doesn't kill too much time if they want to get the ball back in time to get a chance to score. Mousset now with a pitch to Holmes. Holmes cuts back against the grain, and he's still running. He's got some room on the right sideline, and he is going to be pushed out of bounds by Crawford Cantave after a nice gain. That puts Mansfield deep into King Philip territory. Although, yep. And I'm going to say, I guess I've been pronouncing his name wrong. It's Cantave. So we will make sure we try to get that right in the future. All right, Mansfield will be at the 40-yard line. Maybe it looked like he must have gone out of bounds a little earlier than I thought. But it's a 1st down for Mansfield in King Philip territory. Gill came in motion. Mousset rolls out to the right. He's going to take the turn around the corner. He gets out of bounds. It's a little knocked out of bounds pretty emphatically. And now he's pushed down inside the well, there was some a little bit of extracurricular action there on the sideline, but it was just a player just tripped over himself and had to get up. So, Mousset, I think we have a flag. I think we do have a flag. And it is holding on Mansfield. And it will be marked off from the 38-yard line. So Mansfield now back in their own territory.
Well, there's a big break for King Philip. It's going to put Mansfield in a first and long situation. They're looking at 23 yards to pick up a first down here.
Yeah, they had very advantageous field position to begin with, but this is what we've seen in the games we've done so far, Glenn. The penalties will tend to take the air right out of your sails. All right, Mousset has Holmes behind him in the backfield. Fakes the handoff. Play action goes out to the right-hand side. That is DeBolt with the ball. And DeBolt will get to about the King Philip 43-yard line. So we're now looking at second and about, oh heavens, about 13 yards. 5:24 left to go here in the first half. So the Hornets are taking some time off the clock with this possession. They don't split too many people wide here. They keep people kind of tight in. Raposa's wide to the right. Quick handoff to Holmes from the backfield, but that is smoked out by Sean Conniff, and that was only a gain of about 1.
Great play by Conniff. Cut that down before it had anywhere to go. Thrown for a 2-yard loss, and now you're talking about a third and very long. 3rd and 15 for Mansfield. Pretty much takes the ball out of the running back's hands. He's going to have to get the ball downfield.
All right. Yes, it is about 3rd and 15 there. So 4:35 left to go here in the first half, which if they cannot get this first down, this will give King Philip the opportunity to have a little bit of time to work some sort of a drive. Get a little 2-minute drill type of possession or more. But first, they have to stop the Hornets on this play. Mousset drops straight back. Long drop, sets up the screen. That is to Holmes. Holmes gets it out a little bit, but not anywhere near enough. That will be at about the, I would say maybe he gained maybe 1 at the most. So it's at the 39-yard line now. That'll be about 4-yard gain on that.
Nice play by Callanan to come across the field and close on that so quickly, deny him any type of real significant gain. 4th down and 9 now for Mansfield, and they're going to go for it.
Well, they figure that in a short amount of time they can leave King Philip with some field, but they're going to do a quick punt. All right, that's a smart idea. Now see if they can down it, and yes, they do. And that is Raposa who gets it down on the 1-yard line, I believe. Did he get it there? Yes, he did. What a play by Raposa to get down there in time for that. And that was that Holmes on the punt, or was that Marciano? It was Marciano. So Mansfield has now put King Philip 99 yards away from a score in this as we come to near the end of the first half.
Terrific play call. I thought they were going with a wildcat kind of look there. They snapped it to Marciano, and he quick kicked it. And down at the 1-yard line by Raposa, who scored the touchdown earlier. And now he's pinned King Philip's got his backs against the walls here late in the first half.
Well, I'll tell you, Raposa's been an active young man for the Hornets. But now let's see what the Warriors can do. They have embarked on a few long possessions this year. They've got 3:18 left to do this in this contest. And Robbie Jarrist will have to take the snap from directly under center. And he's just going to try to plow right ahead to see if he can give himself some room. He gives himself a little. Right behind Sean Pillar on that. So Jarrist brings it out to about the 3-yard line. So not much room there as the clock continues to tick away. We're at 2:56. 2nd and 7 will be the situation facing the Hornets. Okay, Jarrist again, directly under center, and there's some movement along the line. The Hornets are reacting as if somebody jumped. It would be half the distance to the goal line. If that's the case, it would probably put them at the 1.5, and that is the case, a false start.
It looked like a false start on the left side of the offensive line there, and that's going to pin King Philip back, basically get back what Jarvis picked up on first down.
Now, the risk here now is if King Philip can't get the ball out a little bit further, they could have some mishap on the punt. Mansfield suddenly gets a quick score, or one way or the other, Mansfield will get pretty good field position. So, second down and about 8. And we have a timeout called on the field. King Philip takes that timeout.
King Philip's facing a little bit of a situation here with Ryan Halliday being tended to physically on the sideline and not in the game at the moment. That's the guy you want with your back against the wall, pinned in against the goal line. You want to hand the ball to him, stuff it in his gut, and let him run it out of there. Right now they don't have that luxury at their hands.
And I will say I didn't see an injury to Halliday, so we are, as we stand here in the press box, King Philip is on the far side of the field. I did not see him come off at any time with any kind of an injury, but obviously they are looking at him. So yeah, this does really put a bit of a crimp in any of their plans. 2:13 left. 7-0 Mansfield. King Philip really with its back against the wall. They're at about the 2-yard line. Handoff goes to Cantave. And he will get maybe out to about the 3, maybe the 4. And we have a timeout called by King Philip, I believe, or by Mansfield, I believe. Yes, it's by Mansfield to set up what their plans are for this obvious situation where it's still a third down situation, but it is going to be, a chance to preserve some time here, and there's 2:05 left.
That's the idea, preserve some time for when you get the ball, assuming King Philip's going to be in a punting situation in a few seconds, because you're trying to work the ball out from your own goal line without your go-to running back. You don't know if you want to throw it down here. You're going to trust Robbie Jarvis to do that. He's a guy who can deliver, but it's asking an awful lot in this type of situation.
Well, the main thing, too, is they're going to have to block for him if he has the throw. He's got receivers. He definitely has kids who can make a gain for them. I mean, we saw Andrew McKinney. Andrew McKinney is, by the way, it's his first year playing football, and he had a big game against Franklin last week. A couple of really important catches during the contest. You got Drew Danson, you've got Wassersug, you have Bailing. I mean, these kids can catch the ball. You just have to be able to have the time to get it to them. So King Philip comes back out on the field now, a 3rd and 7 situation at their own 4. It looks like Mansfield really doesn't have too many people back in coverage. And they're going to hand it off to Cantave, and he is going to be dragged down by Maki Baskin. Came up as a safety, comes up to make that tackle. And that is a difficult situation for King Philip to be in. He got maybe easily kind of lost. I think he lost a yard to the 3. So King Philip will be punting out of its own end zone.
And I talked about Dylan Conti earlier in the game. If ever King Philip needs him, it's right here in this situation where he's going to be punting from the back of his end zone with a minute and a half left to go in the half.
Yep, 1:28 to go, Glenn, and it gives Mansfield a little bit of time, but they've done a pretty good job of knocking a few minutes off this clock, and the clock is running right now. So they may take a delay of game here just to get it as down to as few minutes left as possible for Mansfield. And I believe they've called the timeout. Yes, they have. King Philip has called the timeout with 1:05 left. So, here we go. It's going to be an interesting situation here to see if Mansfield will get the ball probably in pretty good field position, barring any mistakes, barring a turnover by them. if they'll have enough time to be able to get something done with it.
Obviously, they let the clock bleed down as far as they could, long as they could, without taking the delay. You don't want to pin your punter in any more than he already is. You'd be snapping the ball basically from your 1.5. As it is, you're snapping it from the 3. He's going to be backed up against the end line there. And you got to wonder if Mansfield might come after this pretty heavily to try to intimidate him, if not block the kick. But either way, they're going to get the ball probably inside the 40, maybe around the 30-yard line in this change of possession.
You know, I can almost see them sending everybody down there. I mean, even if you get the penalty, if you rough the kicker, you still have a very good. You're really going to give them a position to really make anything of it. So let's see what the Hornets do. Conti is at the back line. They did not come after it. Punt is up in the air, in and out of the hands of Marciano, who gets tripped up by Mullen, I believe. No, that is 85. That is Jack Norberg who pulled them down there. So the Hornets are going to have the ball, and they're going to have it deep in King Philip territory, but not as deep as perhaps they might have had it.
That's about as good as you're going to do in that situation at the high school level. You got 33-yard net gain out of it because Marciano had problems fielding the ball. Fortunately for him, it bounced off the turf right back into his hands. He was able to grab it on the run and at least maintain possession of the ball for Mansfield with time to do some damage here.
All right, 56 seconds left to go. Mansfield has the ball at the King Philip 35-yard line. The snap goes to Mousset. Mousset is going to be sacked. What a play. And that was number 35, and that is Malatesta, I believe. That is Michael Malatesta, who just came in untouched. Mansfield quickly to the line of scrimmage. Back at the 45 now. Mousset throws to the left sideline, a pickup of about maybe 10, and that was incomplete. And the ball had gone to that was Joe Capoletti, and I don't think he's any relation to Gino. So it's going to be 3rd and 19 for the Hornets at the King Philip 45-yard line with 27 seconds left to go. And a couple of gentlemen standing right in front of me. All right. Hornets now. We'll have 2 wide receivers wide to the right. Mousset drops back. He's going to take a step up. Now he's going to have to run with it. He's getting some yardage, and he is brought down behind this gentleman's head. Mousset brings it out to about the 36-yard line. The quick snap goes to it, and there's there's the throw now over here on the left-hand side. That is to Capoletti. And that was it. Then we ran out of time on that play. Well, so they avoid the bullet here, King Philip does. The game is at halftime. The score is 7-0 Mansfield. We will be back in just a few minutes.
Asians Garage is now celebrating 100 years of service to the North Attleboro area. Asians provides 24-hour friendly towing and roadside assistance to get you back on the move. From lockouts to blowouts to dead batteries, they're your local AAA representative. Take care of your Massachusetts state inspections without taking up a chunk of your day. Asians Garage, proudly celebrating 100 years of service to the North Attleboro area. Nearly 150 years ago, William H. Riley and his son Elmer started providing coal, straw, and other heating supplies to the people of North Attleboro. W.H. Riley and Son is still owned by the same family, but now delivers oil and propane as well as services to your heating system and air conditioner. Today, like then, you can rely on W.H. Riley for all your heating and cooling needs.
Welcome back to Arnold Mactaz Field here in Rentham for King Philip's game against Mansfield in Hockomock League Kelly Rex Division action. Mansfield leads at the half 7-0. I'm Mark Farinella. Glenn Farley is alongside, and he does have his own microphone now, which is really, really fun. Glenn, we want to talk a little bit about the Division II South ratings right now. As you know, The playoff berths are determined in a large part by ratings, although league champions do qualify automatically. But at this stage of the game here, just maybe 3-4 weeks into the season, depending upon how many games they've played, King Philip is the number 1 ranked team in Division II South. They were 3-0. They have a rating of 15.67, and it would take me 5 minutes to explain the entire rating system. Mansfield, who they're playing tonight, is 2-1, obviously with that loss in Cincinnati to LaSalle, but their rating was 10.40. If King Philip does not win this game, they will still gain a pretty good little charge of points from playing a team that has a good record. But Mansfield wins this game, they could shoot up quite a bit in these ratings.
Yeah, and people might say, why are you looking at that already? Well, it's not already because, hard to believe, we're basically at the midpoint of the regular season with the amount of games these teams played in the regular season before the postseason March starts. So, this is a significant time of year right now. It's getting to be already, although that might not seem like it, crunch time in high school football in Massachusetts if teams are going to make a move to contend for a playoff position or just be in a position where they're just basically, you hate to say it, playing out the string.
Now, I notice that one school that's missing from the list that we have here is Attleboro. They got bumped up to Division I this year. We will be seeing Attleboro next week here at MacTaz Field as the King Philip Warriors take them on. Number 2 ranked is Wellesley at 4-0. Number 3 is New Bedford, and we will be seeing New Bedford on Saturday of next week when they play at Bishop Feion. That's Bishop Feion's homecoming game, and you and I will be doing the North TV telecast for that. And Natick is 4-0, so you still have 4 undefeated teams in this division so far.
And you got a team in Bridgewater Raynham that's basically, a perennial playoff contender that's in the 9th spot I see by your listing there. They've struggled. They blew a big lead against New Bedford last week, a 28-7 lead in the third quarter. Ended up losing 35-28. That kind of hurt, obviously. But that's a team that you got to figure will throw its hats in the ring before all is said and done. As we move to the second half here, Ryan Halliday's physical condition is a thing to keep an eye on. He apparently has some kind of left arm or left elbow injury, and therefore was sitting on the sidelines as the second quarter unfolded. He carried 8 times for 26 yards in the first half, according to my friend from Middleborough, Greg Dudek of the Boston Herald. And the Warriors were limited to 42 yards total offense in the first half. The one scoring play, the first possession of the game, Mansfield Raposa, a 33-yard touchdown pass from Rousset. DeBolt added the point after kick. And with a 7-0 game, keep in mind that DeBolt is a guy that can play a factor in the special teams game, kick a field goal. He kicked a 35-yarder, which is a pretty healthy kick for a high school kid last week against Taunton. So he's got the ability to make this a 2-possession game without Mansfield getting in the end zone.
And I just want to make one quick little note here. We talked earlier about Mike DeBolt's fundraising website. It's called Kick It. Just check on mansfieldfootball.org, and it will provide a link if you're interested. It's to benefit pediatric cancer research. How often do you really hear of a high school kid doing something at that level? And I think that's really terrific. And I'm sure everybody in the King Philip community would love to support that as well.
I tell you, that says a whole lot about the young man and the way he was raised. I tell you, that tells you a lot about the character of this guy. And if you're not rooting for a kid like that, I don't care where you're from. That speaks highly of that young man's character. Nice job.
Now, you mentioned, and this is something that we do have to keep our eye on, not just offensively, but defensively. With Ryan Halliday nursing any kind of an arm injury, that would really cut into his ability to make tackles, too. And they count on him as a linebacker. So it's a bit of a hole that King Philip has put themselves in here, but it's only 7-0 at halftime. We cannot forget that. And that is the characteristic thing about a lot of these Mansfield King Philip games over the last decade or so, is that they've been close. These two teams have become an outstanding rivalry. When I was in high school many years ago, it really was – actually, both teams weren't that good, to be honest. King Philip, though, has made a huge, huge move to the top of the league under Brian Lee. And certainly the Super Bowls that they've played in recently is a testimony to that. They've got a number of kids out there in the field. In fact, I noticed their numbers are actually a little higher than Mansfield's now. We mentioned last week the Hockomock League the enrollments and there might be changes, these two schools are within about 10 kids of each other right now, so they will stay in the Kelly Rex under no changes, obviously expected. But in the meantime, they're going to give us what I expect to be a very entertaining second half of football here.
And as bleak a picture as we painted, let's not forget King Philip's still only down 7-0. It could have been worse. Halliday is a significant factor. We'll have to see what unfolds with that. Could have been worse at the end of the first half, though. You got to remember Mansfield burned those timeouts in that punting situation, trying to get KP to jump offside, and that hurt them down the stretch. They didn't have those timeouts at their disposal. They could have stopped the clock and not been in such a hurry-up mode at the end of the first half when the clock ran out and they were unable to punch the ball in after taking over at the 36 on a punt.
As I mentioned, next week King Philip will play host to the Attleboro Blue Bombardiers here at MacTaz Field, a 7 o'clock start. Mansfield will go to Franklin, 7 o'clock start, and that should be an interesting game, especially with the passing attack we saw. If they can purge some of the mistakes they made, Franklin could still make some noise in the Kelly Rex.
Certainly the best throwing quarterback we've seen to date at this point of the high school season in Gasparrow. He's a threat every time he gets his hands on the ball.
All right, the Bolt is ready to kick the ball away, and he does, and they're just going to let it roll. And it will be, I believe, a touchback.
It is a touchback. He booted it out of the end zone. Kid's got a leg.
He does have a leg. There's no question about that.
I like to see that at the high school level. You just don't see it that often.
We've seen some pretty good kickers in the Hockomock in the last few years. And I will say one thing. I am so happy that coaches have decided to take the time and effort in their practices, and they have a limited amount of time of practice, to work on the nuances, the snap, the hold. It's a very difficult thing, and we're going to be seeing, as you and I obviously have had a lot of experience covering the Patriots now with Steven Guskowski on injured reserve. We're going to see how they keep that going with with Nugent, their new kicker.
Yeah, DeBow might be added to the practice squad pretty soon.
All right, Robbie Jarrist, the 20. He's going to throw. He's hit when he throws the ball, and that was Vinny Holmes coming in on him. That's an incompletion, but boy, that was he got tattooed on that.
Boy, he shot through the gap and just gave Jarvis had no chance on that, and that could have been even more disastrous than it was. They'll get away with an incompletion. They'll take that given that the circumstances that unfolded on that play.
No, heads up to get rid of the ball, basically. Although I don't think he was really thinking about getting rid of it. I think he was about ready to throw that ball, and all of a sudden, hello, Mr. Holmes. That's one thing that Vinny Holmes does a lot of, though, and he's getting some attention. Not at a high level, but obviously because of his size. He's not huge, but he's definitely an athlete. There's no question about that.
And that's a situation where the defense can key on the quarterback more without his running back, his workhorse running back at his disposal right now.
All right, Cantave gets the handoff and might get about a yard, maybe two, more like just a yard. So, yeah, they do not have Halliday out there right now, and that is a matter of concern for the King Philip Warriors.
Right away, KP in a 3rd and 9 situation on their own 21 in a spot where they might have to punt the ball away from rather deep in their territory once again.
So, 11:31 left to go. Not much time moving yet on this clock. We'll be here for a while longer, folks. Here comes King Philip to the line of scrimmage, looking at 3rd and 9. Jarrist has Cantave in the backfield with him. Drops back, looks to throw to the left. And that was McKinney has the ball knocked away from him. Oh, no. That is a catch by McKinney. Sorry about that, folks.
Well, we saw him make a number of key catches last week. He's a guy that I kind of like because of his size, and they were able to take advantage of it there. He made the catch across the middle of the field there, get up off his feet to haul it in for a 10-yard gain, and that's a big gain of that right there.
That's definitely a big first down for them. Well, you noticed last week they had him in a mismatch against the Franklin defense, and he did make the most of it. So we're going to see. Oh, and here comes Jarrist running up. He bounces off a wall, and he's not going to find any room. He runs to the out of bounds towards the left here, and they're going to lose some yardage on that, I believe. Maybe about maybe 2 yards.
Well, with Halliday out of there, they're going to have to expect more from Jarrist, really. And, we've seen him be a two-way threat to this point in the season. He's got the ability to run and throw.
Well, we didn't see that much of it last week, especially in the second half when they really put the ball in Halliday's hands. So I don't want to say he's rusty. I mean, you don't get rusty over just a short amount of time like that. But obviously, you're going to have to see more of it falling into his hands. And you're going to see more wide receivers split out right now. And certainly you have two split out to the right here. And you have Wassersug split to the left. And so Jarris is going to throw on the run over to McKinney on the sideline. And he gets the ball up to about the 35, I would say. 36-yard line. Oh, so Jarris is finding a combination here.
Nice throw by Jarris, rolling out to his right, delivering the ball where it had to be to McKinney. And again, puts him in a third down situation that it's makeable now. It's 3rd and about 4. We'll call it from 37.
Yep, 3rd and 4. So King Philip can extend this drive a little bit longer. You're going to have to work a little harder than usual, though, and that's a good test of the mettle of the King Philip Warriors. Jarris with a pad sticking out of one of his sleeves, throws the ball on the run as to McKinney again. He's at about the 40, 41. Is that enough? Very close to the first down, I believe.
This is all going to depend upon the mark. I thought he might have it, but they're going to call for the chains.
Almost, they might even call that close to the. That's on the definitely on the other side of the 41. So.
Chains coming out to measure.
I'm liking his chances here, Mark.
Yep.
Let's see.
Even the fellow running the sticks over there, he had the change to 4th down, then he changed it to 3rd down, then he changed it to 4th again. So we'll see what we have here as they extend the chains to measure this one. It is a first down for King Philip.
Good job by McKinney on that pass route just to get enough. A lot of times, even in the pros, you see guys that might cut it off early, bite it off early, but McKinney got enough ground to just barely move the chains, but that's all you were looking to do, that situation. The quick pass to McKinney moves the chains and keeps them going without they're basically trying to fight this Mansfield team with one guy missing.
A 6'3", 180-pound senior. McKinney is making a little bit of impact in the last couple of games. All right. Jarris calling out a few signals, getting his players in position. Contave is to move up a little bit. Now Jarris finally gets the ball in the snap, throws again, and that is incomplete. On the sideline here, I believe that might have been intended for McKinney, but I don't know if they just seemed to. I didn't even see a King Philip player in that mix.
Looked like some miscommunication there. I think Jarris thought McKinney was going to bite off the rope, and McKinney went deep.
2nd and 10 at the 41-yard line of King Philip.
Well, as we've said, if the task wasn't difficult enough, it's like King Philip is trying to fight a talented Mansfield team with one hand tied behind its back right now with Halliday out of there.
All right, Jarris again. Making sure everybody knows what the play is here. Snap in shotgun formation, and that was obviously Cantave went right by him. He thought that was going to be a handoff, and Jarris just was stuck with the ball in his hands and no place to go.
And that was definitely miscommunication in the backfield. Jarris turned one way, Cantave went the other, and Jarris was left holding the ball.
So that puts them back at the 38-yard line. 3rd and 13. The Warriors are in a bit of a pickle here.
Well, it's a difficult task, and that the game plan basically goes out the window when your workhorse is out of there. This is like, the Cowboys losing Zeke Elliott or something. And Mansfield's going to be coming after Jarris in this situation. It's a 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14 situation right here.
Robbie Jarris, the senior. A lot of experience over the last 3 years. Throws the ball deep. It's going down to Wassersug, and he gets it, and he goes out of bounds. A nice pickup. He gets to the Mansfield 38-yard line with the reception.
That's as good as it gets, really. That was just a perfect throw right down the right sideline. Wassersug, a nice job. Make sure he made the reception inbounds. And that's another big gainer for King Philip offensively.
First down for King Philip, now in Mansfield territory. So They had their backs to the wall. They got out of that little situation with some nice passing. I think you're seeing an awful lot of passing by Robbie Jarris now in the second half.
Well, like we said, the game plan's basically gone out the window at this point. It's changing on the fly.
Yep. All right. He is in shotgun formation. Two receivers wide to the left. He's going to roll to his left. Throws it kind of up in the air. Intended for Wassersug. He had to come back to the ball. So that's an incompletion. It is 2nd and 10 at the Mansfield 38. 8:37 left to go in the third quarter.
That's a tough throw to make in that situation where he's rolling out the way he was, try to get it down the left sideline, and just couldn't get enough on it, really. Too much air, not enough distance.
Coming into this game, King Philip had scored 71 points and allowed just 31. Mansfield 78 points scored, 54 allowed. And of course, a lot of them came in that 38-16 loss to LaSalle in Cincinnati. All right, Jarris with a quick throw. And that is to Drew Danson, and he's going to go in for close to the end zone, not in. He's going to be down out at about the 1 yard line. Got Danson open on the right sideline, found him, and Danson was off to the races. He got knocked out of bounds just before he could get across.
And a great spin around move by Danson, really, to turn what would have been a nice gain into a huge gain. And King Philip is knocking on the door now, with looking at a potential tie maybe.
And this is something that now you're seeing Robbie Jarris is getting everybody involved in this game. And that is a nice thing to see for King Philip because they need to do that now.
You're right. You got a lot of people stepping up in this situation, no question.
About the 2 yard line, I'll say. Jarris under center. Sean Pillar in front of him. He will hand it off to Cantave. Cantave's only going to get about 1. He'll get about a 1 yard of that. Vinny Holmes was in on the tackle. Also number 60 for Mansfield. That is Mark DiGirolamo, and that's a well-known football name in Mansfield, I'll tell you. There have been generations of them.
Yeah, we got a flag in the back of the end zone, Mark. There's some extracurricular going on in the back of the end zone. Easy for me to say.
All right, we'll see what they're going to mark off. A face mask against Mansfield. So that will be half the distance to the goal line on top of that. So we're going to go from the 1 to about the 1/2.
And it'll be a first down all over again.
I hate to say half yard lines because there are no half yard lines, but that's exactly it. They're about they are about 1.5 feet from the goal line here. So King Philip on the verge of giving themselves a chance to tie this ball game. The clock is moving with 8:14 left to go in the third quarter of play. And now they are coming up to the line. Once again, Jarris right behind Sean Pillar, the center. And he is a big center. And he's going to go straight ahead. And it does not appear that he got into the end zone. Nope, they're going to say inches, mere inches away from the line. It'll be 2nd and goal from about the length of a pencil, I think.
He got Cantave lined up behind Calentro in the backfield. We'll see if this time they might try to give it to Cantave and let him take a shot at it.
Well, I got to give Sean Pillar credit. He's had to do a lot of pushing people out. 6'3", 210 center, a senior, and he has done a fairly good job of clearing people out there when he needs to. All right. This time the handoff goes to Cantave, but he is stopped. A combination of multiple Hornets. I want to say 66. That would be Chris Graham had something to do with that, and about 4 or 5 other Hornets. So now we're looking at 3rd and about 2 yards.
In the middle of the defensive line for Mansfield's having nothing to do with this. You wonder if they might have to try to get the ball outside, maybe even roll out Jarris and let him do something athletically, because Mansfield defense, the middle of that defense is giving no ground at all. And it looks like we got a timeout. Yep.
Timeout King Philip here with 6:37 left. Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you, it's what we expected. We expected a tight game. I thought there might have been a little bit more offense, but the situation has changed, and the defenses are definitely in charge of this. Not at all like I said, the last game between these two teams in the regular season, which was at Mansfield, 28-27 Mansfield win last year, which was the first win in about 7 games that they've had against King Philip recently. In the last 408, Jarris threw a 10-yard touchdown pass to Tim Nault, who's graduated. Cole Baker kicked the extra point. And then Jarris threw to Nault from 19 yards out with 39 seconds left to go. King Philip went for 2, but the pass to David Morganelli fell incomplete. And Mansfield's win was preserved after having a 2-touchdown lead early in the fourth quarter of that game. So they're always battles, and that's a good thing for the Hockomock, good thing for both of these schools too. So we are back at the 2-yard line. Jarrist again right behind center. He's going to hand it off to Cantave again. This time he will go in for the touchdown. Works his way in on the left side of the offensive line. King Philip now trails 7-6 with 6:32 left. And Conti will come on for the extra point.
And you got him in there basically between the left guard and the left tackle. He kind of was able to slam it in there. Took him 3 shots, but that was a well-expended timeout, as it turns out. It could become a factor as we go down the stretch, but it paid off in this instance, and Conti on to attempt to tie this ball game up.
Robbie Jarrist will hold the football for him. Here's the snap. Kick is up. It is no good. Low. Almost took out one of the officials. Oh, well. But they are a lot closer than they were a few minutes ago, folks. It is Mansfield 7, King Philip 6. 6:32 left to go in the third quarter.
Good pressure on that might have played a factor. I got to think it played a factor in that low kick. If really the pressure was applied by Mansfield, they came bursting through the line. Marciano was one of the guys in there, and a key point, to say the least, in a night where points have been difficult to come by.
Well, it's only going to get tense, more tense as we go on here, folks. It's getting a little chillier here at the MacTaz field. And I believe that Arnold MacTaz was a beloved math teacher here at King Philip, and several years ago they named the field after him, and that was before they did the rehab of the field and put on the turf, which has really made it one of the nicer venues in the Hockomock League.
King Philip's been known over the years for its ability to play defense and pound the ball physically on the ground. The ground game has, to a large extent, been taken away from it. This is where you need the defense to really come through now.
Well, defense has ruled this game so far. We will now see what Mansfield can do. After that first possession, they really haven't had a lot of offense since then. All right, the kick is in the air, and it will come to that was Mike DeBolt, number 4, on the return. Now, how's that? The kid's a kicker, and he's also returning kicks.
Does it all. He really does.
Mansfield will have fairly good field position to start this possession. They will be at the 35-yard line of King Philip. No, I take that back. It's the 40-yard line. And this is where this position starts, and this is where Jack Mousset goes back into shotgun formation again for the Hornets. Marciano in motion. Mousset hands it off to Holmes. Holmes gets a little opening through the hole, through the defensive line, gets tripped up by number 23. That's David Dubois.
Got a flag.
And we do have a flag. It's probably a hold from where that was called. It could be an illegal block. It is a hold, I believe. I don't know. It's the one thing about high school officials, they really don't signal very well on these things.
Illegal formation.
Illegal formation is what we will call it. Thank you to the public address announcer here at King Philip. So Mansfield will be back at the 35-yard line. Loss of 5 will be 1st and 15 with 6:20 left to go.
Big break for King Philip, it goes without saying. Mansfield had just moved the ball into their territory. It was looking at 1st and 10 from the KP 49. Now they're back on their 35, facing a 1st and 15.
All right, move set. Pretty much the same thing again, though. This time Marciano gets the ball. Same formation. Marciano came in motion and got the ball on the handoff, and then he brings it out to about the 38, and I believe we have a Hornet. Is it a Hornet down the field?
We do.
Yes,
it is a Hornet.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a cramp. That could be, I'm thinking that might be Marciano. King Philip, of course, in its Green Bay Packer style uniforms tonight. The green shirts, the gold, bright gold numbers, the yellow pants, and the yellow helmets. The Hornets have gotten some new uniforms for themselves this year. They are wearing white shirts with green numbers. They have silver helmets, and they have green pants tonight. And I think they have several different combinations of uniforms over there, too.
Marciano, of course, is one of that stable of running backs we've talked about. Mansfield has at its disposal. He burst on for 58 yards last week in that win over Taunton.
It looks like it is a cramp, so hopefully that will be taken care of, and you know they'll have the Gatorade bottles ready for him when he gets to the sideline. So the Hornets opened the season with a 31-10 win at home over BC High. Then they took that trip to Ohio.
LaSalle, yep.
Yep. So that's where they're 2-1. They had the bye week in the third week of the season, like the rest of the Hockomock League did, basically. Of course, King Philip opened with the 25-7 win at home against North Attleboro, 20-10 win at Foxborough, and then the 26-14 win over Franklin last week. Bousset in shotgun formation. Gill comes in motion. Handoff is to Holmes. He goes to the left side. Now going to go around end. Manages to almost shed himself from Daniel Dubois, but I'm sorry, that is yep. Sorry, David Dubois. Mansfield does pick up a few yards on that. That will put them at 3rd and 4 at the 47-yard line, their own 47. And they will come back to the line of scrimmage. You know, I got to think that Mansfield High basketball coach Mike Vaughn has to hold his breath with every one of these games. He's got so many of his players out here on the football team. Mousset hands it off to Holmes. Holmes is going to try to sneak through the middle. He battles for yards. He might be close to the first down, and we'll see where they give him the progress to. I think they do, and yes, they did. They gave him the first down on that, so the Hornets have gotten the ball over midfield. They are at the King Philip 49, first down, 4:43 left to go in the third quarter. In a 7-6 game, Mansfield clinging to that 1-point lead.
Holmes, a physical runner, he does not go down, just refuses to go down on first contact. You saw him get the ball to kind of the second guy through there and looked to be stopped short of the marker, but he just kept those legs churning and churning, was able to get into KP territory and pick up the first down.
Mousset gets the snap, dishes back out to Gill. Gill's going to go around the end, and he's got some running room on the sideline. Finally gets bumped out of bounds. And that looks like it was Conniff who did that. And Mansfield has now gotten deeper into King Philip territory at about the 28-yard line. Maybe inside the 28, closer to the 27.
And I believe Gill is now down on the KP sideline, the ball carrier in that instance. I don't believe he got up, and I believe they're tending to him over by the KP bench.
Yes, he is. And again, it looks like a cramp the way the trainer is kind of holding his leg out straight. By the way, Glenn, I was impressed that you got Ken Hartley as one of the two King Philip players that have made it to the pros. Now, let's see how impressive you really are.
Yeah, but I missed Joe Todd. I missed Joe Todd.
What college did Ken Hartley go to?
I got this. I think I got this. Does it begin with a C?
We're getting there.
Catawba.
Catawba College.
How about that?
North Carolina.
Why do I
believe,
know
right?
that?
Yes. punted in 1981. You know, that was the first road game I ever went to, was that he punted for the Patriots at Shea Stadium against the Jets.
Great local story. He wasn't around long.
No. They went through a lot of punters in those days.
They went through a lot of things in those days.
Yes, they did.
81 would have been a 2-14 season. Sad that I remember that. That was Ron Earhart's last season.
Yes, it was.
And then Ron Meyer came in.
Well, we could stay here all night and tell stories about that stuff.
Meyer came in and went 5-4 in the strike-shortened season, and they went down to Miami. That was the year of the John Smith snow kick.
Should I use the word snot bubbles at any point in time during this game?
Ron
Because
Meyer.
for all of you folks who might have just been offended by that, that was one of Ron Meyer's terms for a player that gave it all. Also emptying his bucket.
There's another one. I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. Don Shula was not a fan of Ron Meyer.
No, not, and still to this day hates that snowplow game more than anything else. In the meantime, they're still tending to Gill. He's now up, and he's going to kind of wobbly come back here. Again, doesn't look like he's hurt. It's obviously he's gingerly moving with that cramp. Is still probably bothering him a little bit.
And that's where you just kind of saw it.
Actually, now he's going to get some help from a couple of bigger Hornets. Noah Jelinek, number 75, and TJ Guy, number 79, are kind of giving him a little bit more help to get off the field. He doesn't really want to come out. He may be cramping up again. He's just gone back down to the field. So, you know, that happens a lot in these games, when, especially now that you're playing off turf. It seems like the turf is just kind of radiates a certain level of cold back up to your legs. That's the big thing, is to stay hydrated. And, in fact, we're actually hydrating right here right now.
You saw the burst that Gill brings to that backfield. He's kind of the real game-breaking threat every time he gets the ball in his hands.
And not quite the evening off of what King Philip may have lost with Halliday, but it would be a chunk out of the Hornet offense, no question about it, and the Hornet defense too.
It is. The difference being, as we've said, though, that Mansfield's got so many different backs they can throw at you, where Halliday is unquestionably the workhorse of the King Philip offense.
Well, they are carrying Gill off now. Again, two players are helping him off. They're going to have to really tend to him a little bit over here. Hopefully it's nothing any more serious than that. That would be a huge loss for the Hornets.
Yeah, he's being assisted to the bench big time.
In the meantime, we are back, and it is Mansfield with a 1st and 10 at the King Philip 32-yard line. They break the huddle. DeBolt split wide to the left. Raposa to the right. Handoff up the middle to Vinnie Holmes. Sheds a tackle, but does not shed a tackle from number 78, Dan Mullen, whom we talked about earlier. He's in his this is his second game back from a shoulder rehab.
Callanan with the first contact, but as we said, Holmes will not go down on first contact, and Holmes was kind of able to spin away from that, but Mullen was able to move in because of Callanan's work and put the clamps down on him.
2nd and 9 at the 31-yard line. So the King Philip defense trying to come up is a little bit strong here. Mousset looking to throw. And that was a tough throw. First of all, he probably couldn't even see the receiver. There was somebody right on him. That was to DeBolt. That's incomplete. And that will be 3rd and 9 at the King Philip 31. Now, DeBolt can kick. Now, 31, that's about a 48-yard kick. I don't know if he really has that range here, but the Hornets can get another 5 yards, 6 yards. That is maybe in his range.
Yeah, I mean, probably getting towards the cusp of it. This would be too far, I believe. You're talking 48, 49 yards. But as I said, he had a 35-yarder last week at Taunton.
All right. DeBolt is split right. Pitch goes to Holmes, and Holmes has got a little bit of room, but it was sniffed out. Nice job by the defensive end on that side, I believe. And I believe that was Michael Malatesta again on the hit. So, Hornets are going to face a 4th down with about maybe 7. They're at the 29-yard line.
Yep, the 29. Yeah, I think Viscusi was also in on that tackle. They were able to stretch the left side of the KP defense, was able to stretch that play out enough that it just couldn't develop, and they were able to come down and put the hammer down and put them in a 4th and long situation.
And
here.
I believe Gill is back in the ball game for the Hornets. And that would be a 46-yard attempt. So, I mean, let's see, 29, 39.
You're talking about 46, 47
yeah.
yards.
That's
yeah,
too much.
That's,
so
yeah.
We have a timeout here in the meantime.
And Gill is back.
Yes.
Which is good to see. Hey, these kids, they want to play in this ball game. I don't think there's a whole lot of love lost here. I think there's respect on both sides of the ball, but I think these two teams are sick of seeing each other. For one thing, they've played 5 times in the past 3 years between regular season and playoffs.
You know, this is one of those things I'm glad to see that the Mansfield has a. In fact, Mike Redding's father, Dave, handles the Mansfield Football website, and they keep a lot of statistics and a lot of history there. And I would have guessed it would have been about 60 meetings between these schools. King Philip came into existence around 1958-59 and started playing, obviously, as a member of the Hockomock League right away. So it's a long-standing rivalry and really has reached its pinnacle in the last few years. And certainly, as we can see right now, a 1-point game with 2:25 left to go in the third quarter, it's living up to that.
4th and 7, and this looks like a situation where they need the quarterback Musette to make a play here.
And he is in shotgun formation. He will take a drop, and then he'll roll to his left. He's going to throw the ball to the sideline.
In and out of the hands. Incomplete.
Incomplete to Raposa.
Raposa not quite able to come up with that ball. Possibility was there. Musette put it in a catchable spot. Tough catch. KP defense maintains the 1-point deficit.
And they take over. Back at the 29-yard line, their own 29 here. So, a good stand, basically, by King Philip. We're worried that this game might be becoming a little bit of a war of attrition here, too. All right, Robbie Jarrist back out on the field. He's got 2 receivers out wide to the right. Cantave is the lone back in back of him. Jarrist hands off to Cantave. He goes straight ahead, gets only about 2, maybe 3 yards. Chris Graham, number 66 for the Hornets, in on the first contact, I believe.
Tell you what, I'd like to see that LaSalle of Ohio offense. If they were able to put up 38 on this defense, that's pretty impressive from what I'm seeing tonight.
They actually broadcast their games live on the internet. I actually got to see a couple of minutes of the end of it when we were finishing up of our Foxborough game the other night. All right, here is Robbie Jarrist again in shotgun formation. Rolls to his right, wants to throw, looking for somebody, nobody there. He's going to throw it out of bounds. That looked like a coverage situation to me.
And there's a flag.
And there is a flag, so maybe
they're going to call intentional grounding, I believe.
Yeah, this could be one of those Federation rule situations here.
Yep, exactly.
Yes, it is.
I don't like that rule.
I don't either. I like the old NCAA rule where you could be outside of the tackles.
I mean, I don't like
as long
it
as there's somebody in the vicinity that you're throwing to.
Right, and I don't like it when a guy's going to get a sack and they just dump it in the pros, and you see Brady do that a lot. That was a play where he was giving up on the play. Basically, he said nobody's open. You know, let's take it. We'll sacrifice the down. Let's go to third down here.
So that pushes King Philip back to the 18, 17, maybe just a little bit over that yard marker. So we'll call it the 18 here. I believe that is. 1:28 left to go in the third quarter.
You do that on a Sunday afternoon and it's fine. No problem at all. But outside the pocket doesn't apply here.
All right, Jarris takes the snap, rolls to his left, hands it back to on a counter play to Cantave. He gets a little bit of room to run, but not that much, as DeBolt comes up and drops him. Yeah, he's doing it all tonight.
And that's a situation where King Philip just doesn't want to put the ball in a situation where you might turn it over to Mansfield deep in your own territory. They'll try to kick it away and maybe get it to the 50 or close to that spot.
4th and about 15, and we are inside the last minute of the third quarter of play. Conti back to kick the ball away to the Hornets. Almost gets it blocked, but gets it away. And that is that Holmes?
I believe it might be Marciano.
Could be Marciano. He could be back in the ball game.
Yeah, it's Marciano.
It was Marciano.
Terrific return.
He gets it. He was right straight back up into the middle of the defense coming at him, and gets it down to the King Philip 24.
It's about a 24-yard return, and that's just the situation that King Philip didn't want to turn the ball over in on a potential turnover, but it happens on the change of possession anyway because of the outstanding punt return work by Marciano. It's really a solo effort.
And I was kind of hoping the ball would be on the other side of the field a little bit because this gentleman's head is still directly in my way. But and here is Mansfield now. Down to the 24, the first down, 31 seconds left to go in the quarter. Handoff was the pitch was to Gill, I believe.
It was.
And that will be a gain of maybe about, where are we? We're at the 22, 23 maybe?
Give him a couple.
Yep.
And that should do it, right, for the
and
quarter?
That will be the end of the quarter. So, 3 quarters are in the books here at Mactaz Field, and the Mansfield Hornets lead the King Philip Warriors 7-6. We'll come back in just a minute.
Asians Garage is now celebrating 100 years of service to the North Attleboro area. Asians provides 24-hour friendly towing and roadside assistance to get you back on the move. From lockouts to blowouts to dead batteries, they're your local AAA representative. Take care of your Massachusetts state inspections without taking up a chunk of your day. Asians Garage, proudly celebrating 100 years of service to the North Attleboro area.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of play here at Mactaz Field. Mansfield with a 2nd and 9 at the King Philip 23. That was Marciano, a quarterback, who hands the ball off to DeBolt. That was an interesting formation for the Hornets. Marciano.
Yeah, we're doing a little wildcat action there. We got Musette coming in the game. About to check back in.
I've got to do.
Oh, Marciano going to go back in.
All right. I don't know if there's a problem with Musette at all. All right. Marciano will be a quarterback. Directly behind center, Noah Jelinek. Hands it to Gill. Gill off to the left-hand side. Met by... I think that's Malatesta again. No, that was Callanan. I'm sorry. So the Hornets now are facing a 4th and maybe about 3.
The Bolt's in there. Are they going to kick the field goal or are they going to go for it here? Let's see. Musette's back in.
Well, they are at the 17-yard line. Now it appears that they are not going to go for the field goal here because
they're going for it.
Musette is back in at quarterback in shotgun formation. Here's the snap. Hands it off to Gill. He's going to go straight ahead and meets a lot of King Philip people. Let's see if forward progress brings him. Musette seems to think so.
Mansfield signaling that they got it. We'll see.
They are down to the 15-yard line, I believe. And I don't believe that's enough.
Nah, he got it.
Did he? Yes, he did. They are
Nope,
going
I'm
to call
wrong.
it King Philip's ball. Yes, I thought
Ooh,
they were another
huge,
yard short.
Huge, my bad.
Another yard short. So we're at 10-12 left to go here in the contest. And we are down to King Philip with the ball they're going to call it the 15. Long way to go here. Robbie Jarrist takes the snap under rush. That ball was swatted away a little bit. I think it was deflected by Guy. Attempted to go to McKinney with it. Incomplete. 2nd and 10 at the 15.
Guy with great pressure from the right side of the defensive line. Forced the incompletion.
I know Mike Redding had very high hopes for him as a football player, and I also know that Mike Vaughn, the basketball coach, has incredibly high hopes for him as a basketball player. So the idea, let's hope everybody stays healthy.
It's only a junior, too. 6'4", 245.
Yes, had a great breakout basketball season last year as the Hornets went to the Division I sectional final. Jarrist in trouble, and he's going to be pulled down by Guy. And that's about the 9-yard line, maybe the 10. So that's another huge loss there.
One-man wrecking crew right now.
The Hornets are finding their way through the King Philip offensive line, and I'll tell you, the offensive line for King Philip has protected Jarrist well for this season. So this could be just an indication of the kind of talent they're facing tonight.
Mansfield defensive line's been very, very impressive tonight, both in defending the run, which, of course, that run attack of KP's took a serious blow, losing Halliday, but also in rushing the passer.
All right, King Philip now facing a 3rd and 15. Jarrist rolls to his left, looking to throw. Oh, he's just going to heave it up there. Wassersug was there, but it was out of his reach. And so King Philip will have to punt the ball away. 4th and 15 from their own 9-yard line. 9:05 left. Still plenty of time to go in this football game, Glenn.
Yeah, Mansfield's looking at great field position once again. They're definitely winning the battle of field position, playing the the fourth quarter on plus side of the 50 for the Hornets. And, of course, we've seen Marciano's a threat back deep. He's lined up at about the 35. Figuring he's going to catch it there at the worst-case scenario for Mansfield.
Conti punting out of his own end zone. Gets the ball off. Fairly nice kick here. That is Marciano. Fields it. Going to go out of bounds. Gets it down to about the... it's hard to... I would say it's about the... It's in good situation for King Philip. Good field position here. We're going to be at the... 30, it's about the 31-yard line.
31-yard line.
31-yard line. With 8:56 left to go, Mansfield has the ball in a scoring situation. But like I said, plenty of time in this game. All right, Mousset back at shotgun formation. Hands it off to Holmes on the inside handoff. Holmes probably gets to about the 29 maybe. Didn't see much of a gain there.
Even if Mansfield were to score, it's still going to probably be a one-possession game because you figure with the Bolt, they're kicking the extra point, make it 14-6.
Probably got to about the... down to about the... Let's see what the... Is there a flag down on this or... Or is there a player down?
We got a player down.
We do have a player down here. I believe Holmes may have gotten about 3 yards on that play. In the meantime, we do have a player cramping. I can't see. I believe it's a Mansfield player. I can see dark pants. That's about it.
It's Mansfield.
While we have this break, I will say right now that tonight's second half is presented to you by W.H. Riley & Son, serving the area's heating oil and propane needs since 1873. W.H. Riley & Son, 35 Chestnut Street in North Attleboro and 125 Winter Street in Taunton. Keep your family warm by trusting the W.H. Riley & Son family. And on a night like this, when it's starting to get a little chillier, yes, we do want to keep the family warm.
Turning into that time of year.
So, 8:33 left to go, and I think they're about ready to come back into play. Clock is moving. Mansfield has the ball. 2nd and 7 at the 28-yard line. Rousset takes the snap out of shotgun formation, hands it to Gill. Got a lead block, and he gets himself through the line and gets maybe about, I'd say about 8 or 9 yards, maybe a little bit more. Gets it down to, looks like to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, they're at the 20, 1st and 10 with the clock moving on to 8 minutes now.
Well, this will be a huge test of the King Philip defense, and I will say one thing, the King Philip defense has acquitted itself well tonight. There have been a couple of these potential scoring chances, but KP has done a very good job of thwarting them. But it's 7-6. Mansfield knocking on the door in the red zone, as they say.
They have shut down Mansfield since that first possession of the game, but that's in jeopardy right now, once again.
Mousset takes the snap, goes back, has to move out of the pocket, throws it away, and now we'll see if they call that.
King Philip's sideline is not happy, and I don't blame them.
I don't believe there is a flag on that, and under these current rules, I don't know why not. But it is just an incompletion. It is 2nd down at the 20-yard line. Mansfield still knocking at the door, but now the downs a little less in their favor.
They obviously, the guys in stripes, felt there was a receiver in the vicinity, but that looked like the classic Tom Brady on Sunday, just ditch it, play in.
It's going to take me a while to get used to these Federation rules. But then again, we're not the ones who have to play with them out there. They do, and I don't envy them. I don't envy the officials either. They've had a short amount of time to adapt to this. All right, Mousset now to Gill, makes the quick cut back against the grain, and he's got some running room. He's going to go around the end and will score a touchdown for Mansfield. Sincere Gill. 20-yard run. 7:18 left to go in the contest.
And on the back end of the play, looks like we've got a King Philip defender down and in some pain.
Yes, we do.
Gill made a great cutback move, really, and like you said, he went against the grain and just turned on that burst that we've talked about.
And that is Nolan Gunning, number 75 for King Philip, who's down at around the 20. His helmet came off. He's not feeling very good right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to hope for the best.
This might be beyond a cramp, but I don't want to. I don't want to guess. Great move by Gill, though. Give the kid credit. He cut it back, went left, cut back to the right, and he was gone into the night.
We were talking about King Philip having been in 3 recent Super Bowls. Mansfield has appeared in 11 MIAA Super Bowls of various formats, and they've won 7 of them. The last of their wins was the first of the new format, the current format, in Division II in 2013 when they defeated St. John's of Shrewsbury 28-14. They have 8 state titles in all, including a 1959 Class D title, which in those days was awarded by the Boston newspapers.
Yeah. And regardless of who wins the game, and right now it certainly looks like Mansfield kind of moved into the driver's seat, although, again, it's going to still be a one-possession game, I would think, because DePaul is going to attempt an extra point here. They're not going to go for 2. These two teams could see each other once again, as they have the past couple of years.
That's right.
When it matters even more than, nice to win a division title, Kelly Rex division, but even more so, it could mean even more in another month or so in November.
And of course, the way the ratings break out, obviously, they are also playing not just for the playoff berth, but for home team. The top 4 teams get home field, and as you go on through the tournament, if you are the higher seed, you will get the home field advantage in this until we really get down to the last few stages where they go to neutral sites.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, these two teams kind of reminds me of the old days when Mansfield and Foxborough, when they were playing in Thanksgiving and there wasn't divisional play. Well, that game meant everything for this. Well, this game has a huge amount of meaning for the future, too, in terms of the remainder of this season and, as you said, for the playoff berths and what might happen next. So Mike DeBolt will come back now to kick the extra point here out of Marciano's hold. And there's a flag. Maybe delay of game, perhaps? We'll see. I have no idea what they're pointing at. But if you push Mike DeBolt back a few yards, it may not make that much of a difference.
I don't think it will. 5 yards would not matter one way or the other.
They're going the opposite direction. I think they're going a half a yard this way. So King Philip probably something set up differently. So now,
well, what might they go for 2 now?
With only a yard and a half to go for
might
the
you
extra
go for
point,
2?
It looks like they have made that decision. I mean, I can see that.
If you score here in the 2, you do essentially I don't want to say put the game away, but you put King Philip in a situation where they've got to score twice in 7 minutes.
No, I think they're still going to go, unless this is going to be one of those strange formations again. And obviously, it looks like the signals are being called by Marciano in the huddle.
It looks like they're calling a play.
So, yep, DeBolt is splitting wide to the near receiver on the right. On the left, rather, Raposa is split far left, and a timeout by King Philip.
Nope, Mansfield.
Mansfield called it, okay. Well, everybody wants to talk this over, I would guess.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think if they go for 2, it's not a bad move when you saw the breakdown of the point after attempt earlier by King Philip, where Mansfield was able to put pressure on the kicker and force the low kick. If you get the 2-point conversion here, you're up 15-6, and it's going to take 2 scores to beat you by a team that scored once all night.
By the way, this obviously with Halliday not playing in the second half, this will be only the 3rd game in the last 2 years that he hasn't had more than 100 yards rushing. This is probably the only time that injury has played a role in it.
And you got to wonder about the long-range ramifications. If he's going to be out for a significant amount of time, it makes casts a whole different light on next week's game against an Attleboro team that's not a pushover by any means.
No, it's certainly something that I think you'll see King Philip be able to adjust a little bit to, but.
And it looks like they're going for the 2, Mark.
Yes, they are. And you have, it looks like Marciano will be the so-called quarterback on this. He's going to take the snap, and he's going to go straight ahead. He's going to dive over, and he's in
yep.
for the 2-point conversion. So he rocks King Philip's world there.
I got it.
Yep.
I got it.
So Mansfield now leads 15-6 with 7:18 left to go. And boy, that does change the complexion of the last few minutes quite a bit, doesn't it?
It really puts KP's backs against the wall. They've got to score twice now in 7 minutes, and it changes. We said the game plan was changed before. Now it's really got to be in hurry-up mode because 1 score isn't going to tie it. You need 2 to go ahead. You can't tie it with 1 score now. Down 9.
As you mentioned, Glenn, the Warriors entertain the Blue Bombardiers of Attleboro High School next Friday night, 7 o'clock. And if it gets a little colder tonight, I don't think we'll have to worry about mosquitoes anymore. Mansfield, of course, goes to Franklin After that, King Philip will have a game at Taunton. It's a 6 p.m. start on the 18th, and they'll be playing at Oliver Ames here, against Oliver Ames on the 25th, and then that's when the playoffs start.
Hat tip to Mike Redding there. I got to give it to him. He went. He's going for the win right there, basically.
Well, I know. I can say that Mike Redding probably tastes a win like this because he has struggled against King Philip in the last few years. The Hornets have struggled. King Philip has given him fits. And the kickoff will go to King Philip, and that is number 5, I believe. Was that Matt Meehan, I believe?
And
that was Michael Zagrodny, number 3, who brought the ball up. And now King Philip will go and be in business at the 25-yard line, at their own 25.
And on that conversion run, give it up to Marciano, too. Just aggressively ran towards the end zone and gave it the old Sam Bam Cunningham over the top.
He had to fly to get into the end zone on that one.
He knew where he had to get.
Well, for one thing, those are some pretty big King Philip kids to get over. So, all right, Jarrist, under pressure from Guy, lets it go. All just out of the hands of Bailing with Baskin in coverage.
I'll tell you, TJ Guy gets off the ball like no one I've seen in a while in high school football. It's almost like he's jumping offside all the time. He's so quick off the snap.
He does have a good instinct for it. He really does.
Pressuring Jarrus constantly.
Well, 2nd and 10 now from the 25.
Guy now going to the left side of the line.
I got a feel for these kids on the King Philip offensive line. They know that every play is something that they have to deal with these guys coming at them. Jarrist is going to go take the ball to the right on a keeper, and he doesn't get much yardage out of it at all.
That's going to bring up 3rd down, King Philip.
Maybe about 2 yards, maybe to the 27. Yes, right on the 27. So 3rd and 8 for King Philip. 6:42 left in the contest.
Guy checks out of the game, so maybe Jarrus will have a little bit of time to set up in the pocket here, which is what he drastically needs.
Jarrus now rolled to the left immediately, throws it. It was going to be intended for Bailing. He had to come back forward. It fell short. And so now a 4th down and 8 yards to go, and I really don't know if this is 4-down territory unless
they're talking it over like it might be, Mac.
Yeah.
They're talking it over like it might be.
Even though these games are longer now than they used to be, 6 minutes can be killed very well by a team that can move the ball methodically on the ground. So yes, I believe that King Philip is going to try to pick up these 8 yards and keep this possession together.
And I agree with this call too. I'm going for it here.
All right, Jarrist gets the snap. Really is running away from pressure again, but gets it off to McKinney. McKinney gets it up to about the 46, 47-yard line. Everett Knowlton of Mansfield was chasing Jarrist, but Jarrist fired it on the go, and McKinney caught it in stride and got some nice yardage out of it. So we do get the 1st down. King Philip now will have a 1st down at the 46-yard line. They come right back up to the line of scrimmage quickly with 6:08 left.
Got to get it in a bit of hurry-up mode now.
Jarrist gets a snap again. Looking, rolling to his left. Throws deep. And that is hauled in by Bailing, I believe. No, that's no, who is that? Is that Wassersug? It was Wassersug. He pulled it in. All right. Brian Wassersug with a great catch. And that brings them down to the Mansfield 18-yard line. 1st down, 5:47 left to go. And again, King Philip will go to the line of scrimmage quickly.
Jarrus threw it up there, gave his receiver a chance to make a play, and Wassersug did just that.
Jarrist again throws deep to the left. In the end zone, in and out.
Picked off.
Is that intercepted? Yes, it was. By Baskin. Number 1 for the Hornets. Maki Baskin. 5 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. The ball will turn over to the Hornets at the 20-yard line. Well, they gave it a nice little run there. Now, there's still a lot of time left, though. If they can stop Mansfield, they'll still have a chance. But this is not a situation where it's just a one-possession game.
Exactly. And
I mean, even with the extra point, even with the 2-point conversion, it's still a 1-point deficit. So they really need. This is a 2-possession game, and they really need to get a break here. And maybe, King Philip has created turnovers in the last couple of games. We've seen them.
But Mansfield does not look like a team that is prone to turnovers from what we've seen tonight.
No, this has been a very poised effort for the Hornets.
Marciano under center.
Yep, under center as quarterback. Hands it off to Gill. Gill will go to the left side. Gets pulled down by number 41. That is Owen Doherty for King Philip. And did we have a flag thrown? I believe
we have a timeout.
We have a timeout.
Yep.
On King Philip has called the timeout with 5:25 left to go.
Oh, Jarris drove him down the field, put him in position on the spectacular catch, really, by Wassersug on the jump ball. But then he tried to throw another jump ball, really, to McKinney, and McKinney couldn't get there. Baskin kind of caught it in stride in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I almost thought that ball was going to go out of the end zone, but we didn't get a chance to do our usual intro tonight because of a little bit of a trouble with our mixing box. But one of the things I did want to say is that Jarrist would want to get his receivers involved if this was a situation where they had trouble running the ball at all, and then. But Mansfield, it's proven that they have a very talented and athletic secondary on top of that. And my comment was going to be that for Brian Lee and his coaching staff, it would be a matter of picking their poison. I got to admit, I think they've handled themselves pretty well tonight, but this could be a better team they're facing. Not by much, but.
Well, the Halliday factor also is a tipping point. There's no question about that.
Huge factor.
Yeah.
All right, Marciano's still a quarterback. Hands it off. I believe that is Gill again, or is that the Bolt? I can't. As the Bolt. He might pick up a yard or two. I think right now they just want to kill some time off this clock, basically.
Nothing's to be taken away from Mansfield for this effort, but I would have loved to have seen how this might have played out if Halliday had been healthy from start to finish.
And by the way, we note that the ambulance is over on the King Philip sideline right now. I wonder if that is for Gunning. That might be for him.
I would think so. He was the last man to go down, unfortunately, so we certainly hope whoever it is, we wish him the best of health. That goes without saying.
Certainly best wishes from us here.
Some things are a lot bigger than 15-6 right now.
It's a tough game. It is a very tough game still. When you have contact like that, there's a risk, and I got to tip my cap to everybody who plays it. So King Philip has taken time out here with 5:16 left to go. They will be facing 3rd and 7 at their own 23-yard line.
Matt, they're in a desperate situation, really. They're just trying to preserve as much time as they can.
Rather than Mansfield, obviously, has the ball at 3rd and 7 at the 23 of Mansfield. And so, again, they're trying to take some time off this clock, I think. King Philip has used up 2 timeouts quickly. I'm not sure if they've used all of them. Mousset was back in at quarterback, handed it to Gill. Gill got out to about the 30.
Going to be close.
About the 29 is where they're putting it down, so.
A yard shot.
So it looks like, I don't think they're going to be trying to go for this one. I think the idea is maybe they'll take as much time off the clock as they can, maybe even take the penalty.
Yeah, they might try to draw him offside again. Didn't work in the first half at all. But there's really, I would not, if I was Mansfield, gamble in going for it here. Don't give King Philip any more life than you need to. Give him the ball. Don't give him life.
just to make a point here, even if this is a loss for the King Philip Warriors, and obviously it's not finished yet, it is not a season-ending loss by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they will still have a good rating, and they will still only be a game off the lead in terms of the Kelly Rex division. So there will not be, I mean, they will still have plenty of opportunities coming down the stretch. And I look at all three of the teams that they'll be playing in the Kelly Rex as potential victories for them. So the main thing at that point will be to try to make sure you get as high of a divisional rating as you can, and try to get that home game. That's going to be the important thing, is be able to get people here at home, and especially in the early rounds.
And again, Ryan Halliday's health will be the key factor over the next week. See how that unfolds heading into the game back here with Attleboro next Friday night.
Gill back in punting formation. High snap, gets a high and short punt off. Ball bounces at about midfield, and it's going to bounce a little bit before the Hornets surround it, and down it at about the 46-yard line of King Philip. So King Philip will have the ball back. 4 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in this contest. And if they can put a quick score on the board, and, you know, like I said, this is still a relatively close game, and it's not out of their reach. Put a quick score on the board, we could see an exciting finish.
Not a booming punt by Gill there, but he averted disaster by handling the high snap and getting the kickoff under heavy pressure.
Yeah, now just think how much the game might have changed had that ball gotten by him.
Jarvis has got to air it out, basically. They've got to score quickly, and then they've got to recover an onside kick.
Well, they have some weapons, and we'll see how they use them. 46-yard line of King Philip.
Watch
Jarvis,
McKinney.
a kind of a fake handoff, almost a little bit of a draw, goes to Cantave, and he picks up a nice little stretch of yardage there.
Oh, that faked me out. I wasn't expecting that, and I don't think the Mansfield defense was either.
Yeah, no, he started to run towards his right and then handed it off to Cantave, almost like a little bit of a draw play type, only one that people are in motion. So King Philip is now at the Mansfield 38-yard line.
16-yard gain by Cantave there.
And a first down. Jarvis throws over the middle. That's McKinney. Is the ball loose?
I believe he was down.
Looks like they're calling him down. And that would be at the 25-yard line. So, yeah, King Philip is moving quickly, but so is the clock. It's at 3:41.
That's good for Warriors.
KP with another first down here. Jarrist rolls to his right. Throws on the run. Wassersug caught it going out of bounds. Moves the chains down to about the 16-yard line of Mansfield.
Pass complete to Brian Wassersug.
And that would be a gain of 9, I believe.
Yeah, it'll be about second and a long one for the Warriors.
King Philip up to the line quickly. Jarvis gets the snap. Now he's got to avoid a rusher. Steps up, throws it to Bailing on the left-hand side. He cuts back in and goes in for the touchdown.
Touchdown to number 11,
Alex Bailing scores with 3:18 left to go in this game, and maybe we're going to have an interesting finish, Glenn.
Well, things just got a lot more interesting. I tell you, that quick score, that is exactly what the doctor ordered for KP.
3:18 left. King Philip trails 15-12. And they are going to apparently kick the extra point.
Sure, make it a 2-point game.
I see
Conti
has put down the tee. Jarrist will hold. Wouldn't it be something if he gets up and throws the ball? We've seen that before. No, Conti will kick it. A nice kick this time. That one is good. So, King Philip has cut the lead to 2 points. Mansfield 15, King Philip 13, 3:18 left to go in this contest. it's certainly living up to the pregame hype.
It has lived up to the hype, and with or without Ryan Halliday, unfortunately without. But how key was that decision by Mike Redding to go for that two-point conversion now? That changed everything. That's the difference in the ball game right now.
Now, do you have your hands team out there? Are you going to onside kick this?
Well, with the timeout situation, I am. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, both teams are looking for something here. This is a huge moment in this contest, folks. Conti will step into the ball. Does kick the onside kick. I don't know if it's gone the 10 yards. It rolls back. It may not have made it.
Never got there, not even close.
Never got to the 10 yards, so. The ball will be put down at the 41-yard line of King Philip. And we're going to have a little bit of a discussion here, I think. Not much of one. Mansfield will take over at the King Philip 41. So now the Hornets cannot afford to make any mistakes. No dropping of the football. Again, I don't know if King Philip, are they out of timeouts?
Well, they know what's coming at them, that's for sure. The ball's not going in the air at this point. Just onside kick is just a terribly difficult play to execute, even at the pro level.
Yep.
And you just wonder how much time. I know they spend more time now on special teams at this level, but how much time during the week do they devote to onside kick practice, really?
All right, Mousset is in shotgun formation. He's got Gill right behind him. Going to hand it off to that's Vinny Holmes. Vinny Holmes takes it up to about a gain of about 7, I think.
That's the guy I'm handing the ball off to if I'm Mansfield. He's a physical runner. He's not going to go down, as we've said, on first contact. And you're looking to, you don't need a game-breaking play. You just want to move the chains at this point and keep the clock running.
That was a gain of 9 by Holmes. It's down to the 32-yard line. 2:51 and the clock is moving. I think if the Hornets get a first down here, they're pretty much in control.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think Vinny Holmes might be taking Mansfield home.
And he's been doing that for a few years. All right, Mousset calls signals. Gives it off to Holmes again. Holmes cuts back to the right-hand side. Gets pulled down by Conniff. And it is a first down, I believe.
It is.
Yep.
And we're approaching victory formation time.
So that is at the 29-yard line of King Philip. Down to about the 209, 208 mark.
Yeah.
Mansfield is not going to be in a hurry to do a lot of anything right now.
This is where you tell your running back, 2 hands on the ball. Just don't turn it over, and it's in the win column.
Okay, Mousset with Holmes right next to him. Still in shotgun formation. Takes it, and we have a flag, and it looks like there will be a probably a procedural call here.
False start. Absolutely.
False start by the Hornets. At 1:40 left to go in the contest, so they'll bring them down to 2nd and 15 at about the 34, I think. Glenn, you've seen a good one tonight.
It was, like we said, I think it lived up to the hype. It was picked as one of the top games in the state, certainly one of the top games in this area.
Yep,
and I think it lived up to the billing. 2 well-coached, talented football teams who were a joy to watch. And like you said, this certainly doesn't end the dreams of King Philip by any stretch of the imagination.
Both teams will be 3-1 following this contest if the outcome is as we expect. Mousset to Holmes. Holmes is going to take it over to the left-hand side of the field. He's got some running room. Finally turns the corner and is knocked out of bounds. by Nick Viscucci.
Well, obviously Mansfield
After
didn't want their guy to run out of bounds,
Yep.
but after he's picked up about 20 yards, it's kind of a moot point.
He's down to the 10-yard line. A minute 30. I don't think the Hornets are going to score here, to be honest, but just the fact of that, they got so much yardage on that, and now we're in a position where they can pretty much run out the clock.
Now I would say it's victory formation time.
So obviously we'll be paying attention during the week to come, the injury situation for King Philip. Obviously with Halliday, if Gunning looks like he's probably going to be out, so they're going to have to do something along the offensive line. Mousset takes a knee in victory formation. They will let the clock run down a little bit more. We're at 1:25. And as you said, Glenn, Attleboro is not going to be a pushover. The Blue Bombardiers have got some skilled players over there. A kid that we're going to want to look at next week is Mike Strachan, the son of the football coach at Attleboro High, by the same name of Mike Strachan, and he is, and of course Jason Weir, the quarterback, is a good one.
He's a physical kid too. I looked at his size. He looks like a Ben Roethlisberger-sized kid at the high school level. He's a big boy to be playing quarterback.
All right, Mousset back at the line of scrimmage, takes the knee again. We're down to 49 seconds and counting. That'll be 3rd and 10. I think they might have to take one more snap. I'm not sure.
Two quality teams put on a quality show.
Yep. Well, like I said, it's not the end of the world for King Philip to lose this game. And I think you saw that they can work that passing attack to their advantage. And we will see how that plays out next week.
They'll have some work to do with their running game depending upon what the situation is with Halliday, whether they have to go forward with Cantave or what the deal is there.
Mousset takes the final knee for Mansfield, and that will bring them down as the Hornets are celebrating with only their second victory over King Philip in the last 8 games, I believe. And that's it. The final score, Mansfield 15, King Philip 13. Glenn, you have some final thoughts?
As we said, it's a joy to watch. I didn't have to pay to get in, but I gladly would have. This was a quality football game. Two talented teams that, boy, I tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing them square off again in another month or so. I don't know about you.
That's a possibility. It's always a possibility in this division for that to happen.
But we're on to Attleboro now.
That we are. So the final score once again here at MacTaz Field, Mansfield 15, King Philip 13. We'll be back next week with another game for you as King Philip entertains the Attleboro High Blue Bombardiers here. In the meantime, I'm Mark Farinella. That was Glenn Farley. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Good night, everybody.